I may have my soulmate. But if the answer is, well, yes, but I wish he didn't, and fill in the blank. I wish he didn't smoke. I wish he didn't curse. I wish he didn't leave his clothes. If it's a girl tone, I wish he didn't leave his clothes on the floor. If you have a child and you could of the same sex as your partner, and you could say you want that child to grow up exactly like that person, there's a pretty good chance you may have your soulmate. But that's a big, big thing because so many of us, if we're talking real honest, have one or two or three, may not be big things, but one or two or three, excuse me, minor things that we want to change. I would love for my daughter to be exactly like her, but a little bit more outgoing. Well, and she's not my soulmate. I'd like my daughter to be exactly like her, but a little more trusting or a little more caring, things like that. And women could do the same thing for the men. I wish my son was exactly like him, without dropping his clothes on the floor, without cursing, being more attentive, whatever it might be. If you've got a but at the end of it, and if you're being real honest with yourself, a lot of us will say that. Doesn't mean our partner's a bad person. Doesn't mean they're not. You couldn't be happily married to them. Doesn't try to trash them whatsoever. It just simply means to me they're not your soulmate. So that's kind of how I define soulmates and think about it for a minute, and you may agree or disagree. And but it's simply that. If there's no but at the end, I remember my brother. I think one of the best toasts I ever gave was my brother's wedding. He had called me up and he told me he was getting engaged. And I asked him a very simple question. I remember where I was. I was actually on a ski slope tubing with my kids um, at a resort in Pennsylvania. And he called me up and said, "Hey, I'm getting married again." I said, "Okay." And I just simply asked, "Are you happy?" And I thought his answer was priceless. His answer was yes. It wasn't yes, but. Well, yes, but, I wish. We live our life saying yes, but. We're pretty good. We're pretty happy at our jobs, in our relationships, with our children, with ourselves. We're pretty happy, but, and that's going. That's kind of where I'm going back to. This is this but part. If you have a but there, do what you can to get rid of it, whether it's in your personal life and again, job, professional life, whatever it might be. So I'm running really long today, but this brings me around full circle to, my last relationship and where I'm at with that, because people have asked me if I'm involved, if I'm not involved, and so forth. So when I decided to get back into the dating world, I had started to date this woman, and the it part for me was not there immediately, but it was pretty close. So after having gone many years without thinking, having basically saying to myself, "Hey, I loved once deeply, and I got my chance, and that's gone, never happened again." Well, at least I was at a point where I was open to say this might be something special, and and when we started to date and got together, there the emotions grew fast and deep, and I can honestly say that I loved deeply on a lot of levels, and started to think that this may and could be the one. But if you've watched any of my previous talks, um, this particular person has something, an anxiety that I never dealt with, mental illness, and I don't know if I want to call it mental illness. You offend people no matter what you seem to say. If you call it a demon that she battles, um, you can offend people by calling it a demon. If you call it mental illness, I'm not a clinical psychiatrist to diagnose that, but clearly she's had an issue that has sabotaged her and I to the point of it almost becoming toxic. Um, and we would split up and we would get back together because deep down, I do think that we both loved each other. And as I said, I think when you care about somebody so deeply that you still kind of always will love that person. But when you get poked and prodded and sunburned and they become real sensitive. And anyway, there was a lot of up and down in our relationship that didn't need to be. When she was on and in a good place, in a trusting place, when I'm filled with anxiety, um, I can honestly tell you we were heading in that direction where I could love just because. I didn't need a reason to feel good about things. I could look at her and just because, and that was that previous relationship I told you about. And then we'd have some issues. The anxiety would kick up and get ugly, and we'd split up for a little bit, and yet we'd always seem to find a way back to each other. And people that were close to us, of course, people that were close to her to this day despise me because, she doesn't have a large circle, and when she was hurt by me or feeling like she was hurt by me, she would run to them, and she was very manipulative and be able to paint that picture about, he did this and he did that, and I can never make him happy and this and that. Well, none of that was really true, but if you care about somebody and all you hear is that this person's making them crazy, it's kind of hard to like that person, and that's kind of where our situation went. And likewise, I would talk to my few friends and family and say, I don't even know what to do anymore because I feel like I'm doing more than any man could or should. And all I keep getting for it is poked and prodded even further. And of course, their advice to them is, well, then why are you doing it? Get the heck out of there. Move on. And from a practical standpoint, both sides are probably right. And then yet, there we go again, getting back together. And people ask me why. And I wanted to say this to the folks that are out there. Here's why. And this goes back to just me pointing the thumb at myself and love and things like that. When I was in that one relationship that I told you about, the one thing I can tell you that was magical to me was the touch. I'm not talking sexually. There was something about this person's connection with me that they could put their hand on my arm or on my shoulder or on my leg, and the whole world just disappeared. I can't explain it. It was the greatest, most peaceful feeling in the world, and I'd never experienced that until I met this woman. And then, again, as up and down, sometimes toxic, non-sexually, if I saw her today and she put her hand on my arm and I was in a dark place, the world would brighten. I can't explain it. I can't say it's for just anybody. For me, I've had 2 situations in my lifetime now where the touch of somebody else, I can have bombs going off around me and I would feel like the safest guy in the world. And I don't know why that is. I don't know why I had that need to be held or touched like that. But to answer those people that might still be listening to this very elongated talk today, that know about my history and my situation, and know that, I tried to love a second person so deeply and just seem to keep banging my head into a brick wall. And those that care about me and say, what the heck are you doing? There's plenty of people out there that will be more than happy to have a man like you and so forth. Maybe, same way I'm sure there are plenty of men out there that will be lining up for her. But at the end of the day, what those folks cannot do or replicate is that touch that just speaks. Not words, not anger. A simple touch just speaks more words and volume than anything in the world could. So anyway, I did a good job today not getting emotional. Those days are hopefully behind me because a lot of good times ahead. I don't believe in love at first sight, to recap. I do believe in soulmates. I have an interesting definition. I shared that with you earlier. Hopefully you heard that. I was truly and deeply in love one time, and I don't think a lot of people have got to experience that. They don't have anything to compare it to. So we settle, and then we're going to get out there. We don't communicate with our partners, And the men go to porn and the women go to 50 Shades, and neither of them think the other one knows anything about it, or too afraid of being judged to communicate that. You know, it's kind of a tough world out there in the dating world. I will tell my daughters and son, look, don't be disrespectful, but don't, if someone wants to talk to you, talk to them. You owe it to yourself. Who knows if the one is the guy you turned down or the girl you turned down 17 people ago because you thought you were in a great relationship and doing the right thing at 18 years old, you know. I just think that's kind of an archaic way of thinking, but I'm sure I'll get some hate emails about that. I'm sure I'll get the haters that are truly in love and have been since a young age and tell me that love at first sight does exist, and look, that's great for you guys. This is just me talking about my own opinion, and I hope people can understand you know, why I did what I did for so long, trying to make that other relationship work. Dr. Phil has a phrase I've heard him say many times when there are people that are breaking up or looking elsewhere for love and attention that they're not getting at home. And he said, you know, you don't move on or get a divorce until you can look yourself in the eye and know you've done everything you can to make that relationship work. And I think so few people do that. I didn't do it in my early ages. I think a lot of people don't put in the work and the effort, you know, and maybe it's too easy not to. There's so many other options available to not put in the work. But why I kept coming back or taking back that last relationship was because I wanted to make sure in my head that before I moved on from that touch that makes me feel so special that I may never find again, that at least I had done everything in my power to give it every chance, and give it every bit of energy I had. I don't think she's a bad person at all. We got to a bad place because of some mental anxiety, and I don't say that lightly, and I don't say it as a quick summarization of whatever. It's a real thing that she's got, and I'm not sure why. She's had it long before me, and that's what the people close to her don't understand. She didn't invent this because of me. I'm not the trigger, but everybody just wants to say the same thing to her. Just go be happy. As long as you're happy. So when she lies to herself before her anxiety kicks in another 6 months down the road with the next guy, she goes to him and goes, oh my God, I'm finally happy. I'm in a good place. And then that's all they want to hear. So, you know, to those folks that aren't listening, you know, if you're going to do your friend or your mom a favor, have her work on getting the anxiety taken care of, because this was going on long before me, and we all know that. And unless she does something about it, it will go on long after me. And if I can give her any gift, as I said, I just want us all to be happy. My first love is remarried and happy as can be, and I'm truly happy for her. There's no animosity or would've, could've, should've. And I'll feel the same way about this young lady. Where I'll feel like I failed is if 10, 15 years from now, you know, she's continued to burn through decent people because she never dealt with an issue that could be dealt with. And I've tried to help her with that, or at least to help her see the light. And I guess I lost that battle. So, but the good news is I can move on knowing that I think in my mind and heart I did everything I possibly could to try to bring the issue to light and stand by her side and get it right. And it didn't happen. And for that I'm sorry, because I will miss that touch. And to you people out there, when you get touched like that, when someone can put their arm around you or their hand on your skin, and the world blowing up around you doesn't blow up anymore, you'll have something really special. So I've rambled a long time today, guys. Have a happy 4th of July. I'm only a few days away from some good things. I do love you all. Landon, I usually put you not first, so today, Landon, Kira, Grace, have yourselves a great, great day. To those folks that are giving me bling and baubles, whatever these things are called, I'm sure I'll have more before I leave. Only a few days away, still a lot to tie up, but looking forward to it, looking forward to clearing my head. And again, thanks everybody for listening. I love you guys, and have a great, great 4th of July.